Properties of mixtures. As its name suggests, a mixture is formed when more than one substance is simply added together. Air is an example of a mixture. No chemical reaction occurs and no strong bonds form between the substances. These particles are separate. Separation techniques. The materials that a chemist uses are often obtained from nature or made in the laboratory. This means that there are often impurities present that have to be removed. Various separation techniques have been developed to help in this process. Decanting. This method can be used to separate a solid suspended in a liquid, for example, chalk powder in water. The suspension is allowed to settle out so that the solid collects at the bottom. The liquid above the solid is then carefully poured off using a glass rod. Decanting gives a rough separation only, and purification may well be needed. Centrifuging. This is used to separate small amounts of suspension. In a centrifuge, test tubes of suspension are spun round very fast so that the solid collects at the bottom. This technique is used to separate blood plasma from the blood cells. The liquid can then be removed using a pipette. Evaporation. Some mixtures can be dissolved in a liquid, solvent, making a solution. The solid can be separated by heating the solution until the solvent evaporates, leaving the solid behind. The mixture is heated indirectly on a water bath. This allows slow heating and avoids the tendency for the solution to spit. Note that it is essential that the solid does not decompose on heating if this technique is to be used. Filtration. This can be used to separate a solid suspended in a liquid. Sublimation. This can be used to separate two solids, one of which sublimes. Sublimation can be used to separate a mixture of sodium chloride and ammonium chloride. As the mixture is heated, the ammonium chloride passes directly into a hot vapour. As the vapour comes into contact with a cold funnel, it solidifies. Ammonium chloride is formed on the funnel, and sodium chloride remains in the evaporating dish. Separating funnel. This can be used to separate two liquids that do not mix. These liquids are said to be immiscible, for example, oil and water. The mixture is allowed to stand until the liquids settle out into two layers. The less dense liquid will settle out on top. The tap is opened and the more dense layer is run off. Chromatography. This is a very valuable technique that can be used to separate minute quantities of dissolved solid. Chromatography can be used to separate the coloured dyes present in black ink. The ink is spotted onto a piece of chromatography paper. This is suspended vertically in a tank containing a small volume of solvent. A lid is placed over the tank and the solvent runs slowly up the paper, carrying the dyes with it. Each dye has a different solubility and will be carried a different distance. Chromatography can be used in chemical analysis. It is possible to identify the individual dyes present in black ink. The black ink mixture, together with several known dyes, are spotted side by side along a pencil line at the bottom of the chromatography paper. Pencil is used so that it will not run with the solvent and will provide a reference line. Simple distillation. This technique can be used to separate a solution of a solid dissolved in a liquid. It is essential to use this technique when we need to collect the solvent, such as when removing salt impurities from water. This mixture is placed into a distillation flask and heated until it boils. Water vapour passes out of the sidearm and into the condenser. The condenser has an outer jacket through which cold water circulates. Heat is removed from the water vapour, causing it to condense and collect in the beaker. This liquid is called the distillate. Fractional distillation. This technique can be used to separate two miscible liquids, for example, alcohol and water. The separation requires a distillation column packed with glass beads. The mixture is heated and the liquid with the lowest boiling point boils over first. Here alcohol, which has a boiling point of 78 degrees C, will be collected as the distillate. Fractional distillation can be used to separate crude oil into its components, petrol, paraffin, diesel oil, etc., according to their boiling points. Each liquid collected is then called a fraction.